So again, on the street, I was dealing with police that were trying to get me arrested. But the whole time, as part of the campaign they were doing was trying to work towards my heart. And we're going to unpack that a big part too, because you're going to understand why. Basically, pertaining to the situation of what I was saying before about the investigation, they wanted me to admit not only that I had been a part of that said situation, and now that I'm alive, I would like to actually get into that because we can get into the facts, anyways. And after Rebecca's already gone missing, I think it's okay that we can do that. But that's partly why I didn't say anything the whole time, is because I didn't want to put Becca or her family or anybody else in danger. And I knew that I could deal with said situation, and I have been. I've stayed alive. So, I mean, a lot of the people, criminals, thought I had something to do with that. Sometimes I even try to shut them up, just be like, hey, whatever you say is the truth. Whatever it is, just stop poisoning me. There's been many of those situations, and it never really happened. They didn't want me just to admit to it. They wanted me to kill myself. Once I'd killed myself, then there's no investigation. But you'll hear about us, the lovers. And I'm going to explain and point out specifically the big spots and where people started following. There's people that you would not believe part of this. I've been mentioned in movies. Because it's such a big situation and it can pertain to drugs and other things, there's famous people that are fairly aware of my situation and who I am. I get talked about quite a bit. And that's also why I'm starting to come out now finally, show my face. I'll point out just about some not only famous movies, top-notch blockbuster movies where they're talking about pertaining to my situation, but songs, a lot of music. Everyone is just about as aware of my situation. This is my first time opening it up, trying to break the fourth wall so that we can talk about this in an open manner, right? So maybe I can move on with my life. And so I'm not dealing with this no more. I'm not dealing with being poisoned. I'm not dealing with people trying to set me up. I'm not worried about my family or anybody else dying. And we can try to figure out what happened to Becca. Okay? So, basically for a long time, because of this situation, this is happening in the jails. So I'm infamous in the jails. People on the street, just about everyone knows me. People walking down the street, everyone in Vancouver and in Lethbridge know me. I'm pretty famous around. So it's basically I wanted to start opening up that situation on basically why. And basically what they wanted me to do is kill myself and say it was me so that I was saving Becca. Okay? And at the time, because she knew about the situation, I kept pointing out, like, if you're going to do that to me, you're going to do that to her. Because it would take her one time saying anything. You know? And I know she knew a part of this too. And that's why I wish I had done this before she was missing. And then maybe we both could have made something out of this. And changed things around. So, I don't think this will do me a lot of favors. I mean, it's going to anger a lot of people. It might put my life in danger, but at the same time as I grow this, you guys will start to understand. You know? I know for a fact what I didn't have a part of, and I know for a fact what has happened up to this point. And when you start to realize I'm talked about the people else who are a part of this situation, I haven't really talked about that side yet. They're a part of it too. I think a big clarification is in need, because they've been building this up for a long time. And I feel like a lot of it was because they were trying to get those people to do the work for them. They either wanted somebody to kill me or they wanted me to kill myself. Basically so I could never talk about these situations. And that becomes a really scary thought when you have people who are in authority that will share this type of information, trying to get me to admit to something that I didn't do. Right? And I'm willing to, while I'm alive, open this up. Anything, they record everything. You're in a vehicle and you say something in the back, they hear it. You're on a phone in prison, they hear it. You know, my phone's probably tapped. Okay, there's not a thing that I've said out loud that they have not recorded in the past all these years. So they would know if I'd have ever talked about in any situation about anything. If I'd ever had a report to them, if I'd ever asked anything, brought up this situation at all. These are the things, are the facts that really matter. Okay, so then we can figure out why this happened. Once you realize just how famous I am, you guys are going to be a little bit in shock. Yeah, like really in shock, you know? So, we're going to open that up here, you know? And slowly we're going to talk about it. And it's time that I start opening my life in a more open manner. I want to get comfortable in front of the camera. I'm going to start building up my social media presence. And you guys can follow a real life conspiracy almost. A real life, not even a conspiracy. It is sort of a conspiracy, that part. But I just want it to be known that no matter what, I would never hurt myself. I'm grateful for my life. I'm not going to hurt anybody else. You know, and I'm tired of this situation. I'm tired of them lying. I'm tired of them trying to screw with my life. I'm tired of them threatening the people that I care about. And this is the only way that I can bring it open. That I can open this to the world. So, in 2023, I was living at on-site recovery house, dealing with some of the same shit that I'm dealing with right now. At that time, I was literally, I didn't deal with too much gas at that time. 2 months before Becca went missing, I ended up getting into the treatment center recovery house. I was living there for 2 months. This place has a 10 o'clock curfew every night. You're on camera. Literally outside my door was the office, which is staffed 3 times a night. They check you. And basically, I lived there. That was the recommendations for being in that place. On top of you have to be clean, sober, following, you know, no violence, basic shit. So, November 23rd, that was October I moved in. November 23rd, Becca apparently went missing. I never heard about this. I got a phone call literally from the police 2 weeks minus a day roughly. They were going to be putting out a report in Maple Ridge Meadows. It's the newspaper. They gave me a call, asked me where I was. I told them that I've been in the treatment center, lived there. They basically understood the rules. You know, I'd been there every night. She had gone missing in the middle of the night. She had been at, of course, the one place that started this whole thing, Midge Meadows Hospital. So, I'm not going to allege anything with the hospital there, but I do know my situation, which pertained to some of the officers and the COs. I want to make it very well known that I dealt with the past 3 years after Surrey pretrial, every time I had been poisoned or gassed, and that had happened lots. I want to get that information from the hole. There's real life segregation information where I was in the hole for, I'd probably say almost 9 months over those 4 years, where I was dealing with that situation every day, all day. And there's things I haven't even talked about that they did to me that are just unbelievable. Unbelievable. You know, everything from heartbreaking to embarrassing to, you know, psychological. A lot of it was psychological. You know, they're trying to break a person down, have them so scared, so fearful that the only option was to kill myself. They try to make it feel like if I were to make a video like this and share my real life, you know, what's going on, that I'm, you know, maybe ratting or something like that. And I'm not doing anything. You know, I'm bringing up a real life situation that is happening with those in charge. That's led to a person missing. It's led to shit with my family. My family had to leave BC. Had to leave. They don't even really talk to me too much no more. They don't want to be a part of this, you know. There's some shit there I'm not really ready to unpack. I want to sort of get their permission before I talk about it, but I had serious real life situations with them. You know, real, you know. And their safety was in jeopardy, and they had to leave the whole province. I had to leave across the country, and they don't even want me to know where they lived, just in case somebody were to try to question me, threaten me. So when I say that we're dealing with a real big, pretty scary situation, I'm not lying, and I'm telling the truth. But I'm strong and I'm brave, and I feel like this is the first time that I've had to do something positive. I need to be able to stand up for what's right, and stand up for myself, and stand up for my family. And I didn't know how to do this the whole time, you know. I don't know if there's going to be some backlash from this shit. The more I talk about it, there might be, but it's to the point where it needs to be talked about. You know, there's some high-level people involved in this on both sides of the law and on the law, and people need to understand the reality of what's going on so that I can speak to them. You know, so basically, she went missing. I ended up, I've talked to some of those workers there. I would like to actually, hopefully one day, if I can build this into a documentary or something, I want to get these people involved, ask them certain questions. I want people to, you know, really question. They knew sort of about the situation prior to me moving there, even though we wouldn't talk about it. I was dealing with some gassing. I'd actually been planning to leave the province. And at the time, I was dealing with threats living downtown Vancouver, specifically, you know, especially by those in charge, man, about Becca getting hurt. You know, if I left, that they're gonna go after my family or me. That's no joke. And so December 10th, I think I got a phone call from the cops at that point, and they told me that she was gone. And I had known that this cop had actually been a part of this situation prior, and I really just didn't want to speak to him. I wanted to make sure nobody actually understood or listened, and basically I told them where I'd been and what was going on, and because I understood the reality of the situation. At first, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I thought Becca was okay. As it had happened at the hospital, it seemed like they had been trying to help Becca or save Becca at that time. They'd wanted me to admit to something I didn't do and kill myself, so it's basically taking the fall for something that's very serious. You know, I figured that she was okay. I thought they'd maybe moved her somewhere, or maybe witness protection, you know, and I thought that's okay, she's safe, I'll be able to move on. And as the months go, some people encourage that thought who were part of this situation. And so I didn't think, I'm like, what am I going to do? Am I going to bring this situation up? And then am I going to cause her issues? You know? But it's at the point where my life is so fucking affected, and the lives of my families, it's finally that I do something. People need to understand what's going on. And the longer it went, the less I felt that way, you know? I ended up getting kicked out March 1st of last year. Honestly, I ended up leaving. They gassed me in that room again, which told me there's something going on here. You know? It hadn't only happened there. I've actually had it happen. Like I said, this is a long story. I've had it happen in shelters. I couldn't go to shelters. I couldn't go to just about most of these places, you know? And yeah, it was fucking rough. So I left March, stayed clean for a couple months, living on the street, dealing with the same situation. You know, I'm always being followed. Sometimes it feels like it's a little bit of both, you know, probably trying to investigate, trying to put in work on me, trying to figure it out. But I have to stay on point just about all the time for that reason. Look out who's around and what's going on, who's listening. And it's come to the point where it's finally that we can just open this up. Yeah, I've lost a lot of fear. It's hurt me a lot inside, and it's gotten to the point where it's time that we talked about it. So they kicked me out. I was living on the street, was clean and sober. I was actually clean like almost 7 months at that time. Yeah, which is pretty fucked up. And you understand why the recovery houses are sort of a part of it. We'll get into that a little bit later. But basically, they kicked me out to the street, and I was living on the street. And basically, I think it was probably 2 months later, I ended up basically homeless. My shit got stolen. I lost everything. Basically, I was on the street. I ended up getting bear sprayed really bad. Another institution. Like, that's happened probably about 20 times. I've never had anybody else. And just let anybody listening to this, if they have something to square up with me, square up with me. At this point, we know that I'll never be calling the cops under this situation. So do what you want, right? But I got pepper sprayed by like 2 full cans of pepper spray. The hospital had kicked me out prior. They had known that I've been being poisoned, and I think they were aware to it, to some situation, just like some of the public were. That's why I want to get this open, beyond just other people who are aware of the situation. There's a lot of people that know. And so basically I ended up spending 4 or 5 days in the hospital, and I had a little relapse before then. So the day I got out,